Happy Thursday, our Dodger faithful. We are always so happy to have you here on Dodgers territory. For the next 30 minutes, we will take you through all things Los Angeles Dodgers. I am Alanna Rizzo. That is my co-host in crime, Clint Pasillas. Happy to be with you today. Thanks for being with us, you guys. We always appreciate it. Please rate us 5 stars, like and subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. Tube in, as Clint likes to say. All right, so today is the last day of winter meetings, Clint, which leads us to our big ticket.
Let's do it.
All right, so I think if you're going to give the Dodgers a grade, which I know we love to do that, we love to create lists, we love to give teams grades, I'm going to give them an A. And the reason being is they don't need to do more than they have done. I would like them to do a couple of things, but let's keep in mind that they didn't go to the winter meetings needing a splash because they already had a couple of splashes prior to. They extended Tommy Edman. They got Blake Snell. They also got Blake Trinan on a 2-year, $22 million deal during these, this week, this time period. But listen, I'm pleased with what they've done so far. What say you?
To the meetings part of it, I'm a little disappointed. I would like to see more activity, more whatever happened. They weren't going to win headlines at the winter meetings because they weren't going to sign Juan Soto, but that's me being greedy. That's me being way over the top. I agree with you.
Yeah, you are greedy.
Well, yeah, I'm a Dodgers fan. Like, we just get everything these days, apparently. But I'm fully agreeing with you. What they already did heading into the meetings just before, I guess it was technically on the Sunday, they had the Conforto deal. The Edman extension before getting Blake Snell when they did, before everybody realized, we have to pay a lot of money for all these players this winter. I really like what they've done so far, and we know what this team does. They lay the groundwork for the next big move, the next big trade, maybe some things we're going to be talking about in this show, Tanner Scott, a Devin Williams trade or something like that. But I feel confident. I feel confident in the team and the front office's confidence in where we're at right now.
I do too. And here's a couple of things. We can finally put is Garrett Crochet going to get traded rumors to bed. I'm so sick and tired of talking about Garrett Crochet. He was traded. He just switched socks. He went from the Chicago White Sox to the Boston Red Sox. Good for the Red Sox for spending some damn money, and acting like the Boston Red Sox should act. So Garrett Crochet is now a member of the Boston Red Sox. And obviously Max Fried is now a member of the New York Yankees. You can't talk about the Red Sox without talking about the Yankees. And Max Fried, the lefty, is now in the Bronx. Obviously the Yankees can spend some money because they very much tried to get Juan Soto at $760 for 16 years. That didn't work. So they have the cash, right? But I think they can make a better team based on giving it to several players, Max Fried being one of those. But I ask you this, my friend, do you feel like the Blake Snell signing is better than the Max Fried signing? We're talking about 2 left-handed pitchers. Okay, let's just break this down for a hot second. Max Fried is entering his 9th year. Blake Snell is entering his 10th year. Max Fried is going to be 31 years old in January. Blake Snell just turned 32 on December 4th. So career ERA for Max Fried, 307, 319 for Snellzilla. 884 and 1/3 innings pitched so far for Fried, okay, in his 8 years of big league time. Snell has almost 1,100 innings in his 9 years of big league service time. Snell has 2 Cy Young awards. Max Fried doesn't have any yet. You look at the numbers, though. Max Fried, 8 years, $218 million. That breaks down to about $27.25 million per year. But look at Blake Snell, 5-year deal, $182 million. That's about roughly $36.5 million a year on a much shorter deal. Which deal do you like better? Max Fried, Blake Snell?
God, do I love the Blake Snell deal even more, because you're not I don't want to say you're not stuck with these players. Obviously, Max Fried, a very, very good pitcher, but the Dodgers don't need a pitcher for 8 seasons. They really don't. This is a team that drafts, develops, finds diamonds in the rough. They just manufacture. They print pitching. They have a lot of pitching, waiting in the wings in the minor leagues as well. So you just needed somebody to kind of eat some innings especially for this season. If one or two of these guys in the top end of the rotation, whether it be Shohei, Glasnow, Yamamoto, if they get hurt, hey, you still also have Blake Snell. So they needed, like I was saying early in the offseason, they needed that adult at the top of the rotation. But they don't probably need him 5 or 8 years from now. So I love the Blake Snell deal. I also love, people don't bring up the postseason ERA, a disparity between these two. I think it's Fried has an ERA north of 5, as for Snell. We've seen him dominate against the Dodgers in the postseason before he's taken out. He's been very good in, I think it's comparable postseason innings. The point is, I love Blake Snell. He was my guy the entirety of the postseason. Of this offseason. He was the guy I wanted, the target I wanted for this team. And thankfully, Andrew and Brandon listened to this show and did me a solid.
Yeah, I am fine with Blake Snell over Max Fried. I think Max Fried's a great player, obviously. The guy has a lot of black type by his name, but you don't need to sign a pitcher for 8 years, in my opinion, especially when you have a guy that is going to be 31 years old in January. Now, I will say this, going back to Crochet and the Red Sox for just a hot second. Boston gave up 4 prospects to get Crochet in the fold. I talked to Ken Rosenthal today on Fair Territory with Ken Rosenthal, and they don't need to sign him to an extension right now. It will be interesting to see, though, if Boston does extend Crochet before he hits the free agent market. But they gave up a number 4, 5, 11, and number 14 prospect for Crochet, so we'll see how that ends up. Let me ask you this, though. I still think that the Dodgers need a frontline starter to complement what they already have in, obviously, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Shohei Ohtani, who is not going to be ready for opening day, but will be ready early on in the season, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. I know they have Tony Gonsolin. I know they have Dustin May. I still will say I think they need to go to the bullpen. But does that mean that it becomes Walker Buehler, Roki Sasaki, Corbin Burns, which I do not believe? Or is there a dark horse out there, Clint, that will be in the Dodgers starting rotation come opening day?
I don't think so. I don't know that they're going to, I mean, I understand they say they would like another pitcher. They probably might add somebody like a more of a James Paxton type, an innings eater. That's at least my gut on it, because you already have 4 horses at the top of your rotation. They're also bringing back Clayton Kershaw, and he will be ready to pitch at some point. The people like to sleep on the Catman, but he's still got a couple of those 9 lives left. Dustin May will be in the bullpen. Hold on, actually, I'll give me the boo. I'll give me the boo on that one. I think they're in a good spot in-house where they could focus that money on maybe the bullpen, which is what we're hearing. As for Walker Buehler, I really don't. I'm buying in with what a lot of other people are saying. I let the heart say, like, they can figure it out. They can find a way back. But from what we're hearing, reading the tea leaves, Walker Buehler ain't coming back. And of course, Buster Olney tweeting, I think it was today, about Walker Buehler, that market getting hot. Multi-year deals is what his agency is looking for, with opt-outs. Of course, Yankees were in on him before landing Fried. You got Red Sox, Giants, Tigers. Oh, to see him in a Giants uniform, that would crush me. But he's out there. He's out there, and I think wherever he goes, it won't be with the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Well, that's what I had said many, many times. I really thought that the fact that they didn't offer Walker the qualifying offer of 25 and whatever change it was, tells me that they don't think that he's going to get at least that amount of money, right? Walker wants in my opinion, I have not spoken to him about this, but Walker wants a multi-year deal that's going to have a higher AAV than, let's say, the 25 million that where you bet on yourself if they would have given him the qualifying offer and they didn't. I can see Walker kind of getting maybe a 1-year, $18 million deal, kind of bet on yourself, but I know, and I don't blame him. I would want a multi-year deal as well for security and the money too. But the more that this goes on, the less I see Walker in a Dodgers uniform, which stinks. Maybe he signs a 1-year deal someplace else and then hits free agency again. Yeah. And maybe it makes sense for him to come back. Roki Sasaki, $12 million. I don't know. It won't be Burns, that I can tell you. They're not going to pay Burns $200 million to be a Dodger.
I'll tell you this. I mean, for Walker, good on him to try to go out there. This is apparently the off season to try to get all of the money in the world, because these teams just have gobs and gobs of money laying around, and all the teams that were in on Juan Soto also put out into the world, hey, we have this much money over X amount of years to give to somebody. Of course, the Yankees earmarked some of that sweet, sweet cheese to Max Fried, but they need more pitching help. He could end up there, but it's an interesting offseason. Try to get the bag if you can, and then come back to reality for Walker Buehler. And I think that's kind of the same boat Teoscar Hernandez is in right now. Do we want to talk Teo, or do we want to talk about other crazy rumors?
How about we get crazy for a hot second?
Okay.
How about this? So this is so crazy. So apparently the Pittsburgh Pirates want to cut payroll, which I don't even know. How do you cut 0 from 0, right? So, like, I don't get the fact that if you trim payroll while upgrading in other areas, like, it doesn't work that way. But what about this? If you wanna trim some payroll, there's a couple of guys in that starting rotation that I would not mind seeing that mustache in the Dodgers rotation. Paul Skeens, welcome to LA. Your girlfriend fits perfect in Hollywood. I would love to see Paul Skeens, of course, in a Dodger uniform. And hey, if we can't afford, I mean, Dodgers can afford anybody, but okay. And so let's say Pittsburgh doesn't get rid of Paul Skeens, which the Berg would burn to the ground if they did. Yeah. What about Jared Jones? If you want to trim payroll,
they have some bodies there, but that would be they have some elite bodies there with Jones, and more so Paul Skeens or Skenis if you're nasty. You got to make money as a team, as an ownership, and if you trade away like your horses, the guys that are born and bred Pirates.
But that's what the Pirates do, though.
This is fair. They are
what
bad.
The Pirates do.
They are poorly run. They're not as poorly run as like the Rockies or the Angels or whatever, but I had to get an Angels dig in there. It had been a while.
You did.
Listen, let me tell you, so many people are just going to be immediately pissed. I'm not looking at the comments right now, but this graphic alone is going to upset so many people. Look, we'll put out we'll put out this fire right now. There's not a chance in the world now that this move is going to happen. Not a chance. Let me complete two thoughts at once. Not a chance this happens, even slightly. But if the Pirates were to move somebody like Paul Skeens, the Dodgers have the talent to go back in a deal. But also, if they're trying to cut payroll, Paul Skeens ain't making much a dick right now at this stage in his career. So they're holding on to an ace.
But yeah, of course. I mean, yes, but sheesh. I mean, imagine if we're just gonna get wacky. Let's be wackadoodles. I would love to see Skeens in a frickin' Dodgers uniform, or Jared Jones, or Mitch Keller, or whatever. All right, so moving on, because that's probably not going to happen, but it's fun to speculate. What are we doing? The only thing, okay, I gave the Dodgers an A for winter meetings.
Yeah.
The only way they could be A+ for me. Where the hell is Teoscar Hernandez, and why have we not signed him?
Where is my guy? Bring back Teo. He wants to be home. He cried for us. He helped this team win a championship. The lasting image of that near home run, but the double to complete the 5-run Yankees crapping all over themselves fifth inning. Teoscar Hernandez needs to come back, and it seems like, I know you talked to Ken Rosenthal about it today on Fair. It seems like all signs point to a reunion still happening, but there's something they're apart in this contract, and this is what I was saying. I either said it on my show on Monday or on here on Monday. I worry about the Dodgers having waited a little too long, because after that Soto deal went and got signed, and all of the money in the world went to Juan Soto, Teoscar Hernandez's agent now has every right to go out there and try to ask for ludicrous deals, ask for 5 or 6 year deals, and the Dodgers 1,000% aren't going to 5 or 6 years. And right now, it feels to me like the hang up is a 4th year. Where do you think?
Well, I tell you what, if ludicrous, he's not going to Atlanta, Clint. So stop worrying about that. Those ludicrous deals, you get it, ludicrous deals in Atlanta. All right. Oh,
I got a button.
Wow. Damn, I gotta figure out those buttons too. I do believe that Teoscar will be back with the Dodgers, but I hate the fact that he's still out there. We talked about this before. I said you have to sign Teoscar before Juan Soto gets signed, because the price tag is going to keep going up. And I know that the Dodgers, of course, they were kicking the tires. Of course, they had conversations, blah, blah, blah. Everybody did that had the means to get Soto, but I don't think the Dodgers were very intent on going as high as Juan Soto ended up getting. So they knew that they could get Teoscar back at probably a very reasonable team-friendly deal, even if it's 3 years, $60 million, 3 years, $70 million. Because now if he doesn't sign with the Dodgers, he's probably going to get more than that. Not to say that he wouldn't come back on a team-friendly deal, because I know he wants to be in LA. Maybe the hang-up is the 4th year. I doubt that the hang-up is money. So I'm just hopeful that they can figure this out, because that would crush me too. And I don't know if there's ever been a player, and you've been following this team for a long time, obviously. I don't know that there's ever been a player that just in a span of 365 days in 1 year has ingratiated himself to fans more than Teoscar Hernandez has. Just 1 year, that's all we've had him. And everyone's clamoring to have him back.
And this is probably lazy, but one of the first names I think of is his not brother, Kike Hernandez. His first year in Dodger Blue, he hit very well, but also was a banana suit year. Kike, in a part-time role, became an immediate fan favorite, and Teoscar the second.
But we also knew that we had Kike for longer than the year, didn't we? I mean, because when we got him from Houston, he was already on a Houston, then Miami, then to LA. But it's like you knew you had him for longer than a year. So you knew Kike was coming back. Teoscar, we knew we had him for a 1 year rental type of situation.
Yeah, the second Teo started teaching Shohei some Spanish and telling him "Buenos dias, Dodgers fans, fanáticos," like that's where I think he warmed everybody's heart. But this is a deal that needs to happen. It just needs to get done. Call Andrew Friedman right now. We'll totally just corner him. He's not at the Juan Soto introductory presser there at Citi Field. So call him up right now. Be like, where is Teo? There's about 800 people watching this show live right now on YouTube that want to know where the fuck is Teoscar Hernandez? Why is this deal not done?
I'll text him right now. All right, let's switch gears here. We talked about Blake Treinen in 2 years, $22 million. Jim Bowden was saying that it's potential, and Ken was talking about this too, right? Yeah. That there's a talk, perhaps, that the Dodgers would like to trade for Devin Williams or sign Tanner Scott. Now, Devin Williams obviously would be on a 1 year deal, lot less money, would not have to do prospects. Tanner Scott's going to come with some cash. What's the thought there?
We got, I agree that they need another back end reliever. I talked about this on Monday on my show. I kind of started seeing the main guys at the back end. Yes, very, very good, but injuries happen. Bruce Dark Gratterall surgery. You don't know if Dustin May will be in the bullpen, and if so, if he's going to swallow his meat correctly and make it through an entire season and all of that. To have one more,
he's never going to live the esophagus thing down ever.
Absolutely not. And I have a question. I'll piggyback off of this, and I asked my friend Greg Bergman, on my show on Monday. You need to get one of these guys. I think adding one more, Devin Williams, makes a lot of sense. 1 year left on his contract. Dodgers have some pieces. They absolutely have some pieces. They need to move this winter from the 40-man prospects that are kind of aging out. I think you could make a deal where the Brewers aren't going to win headlines with the deal, but it's going to make them better. It's maybe something. Well, no, this wouldn't work. I was going to say the Michael Busch trade. That wouldn't work because you gave away, you got minor league talent back. The Dodgers would be getting an all-star back. But between the two, let's pull all the way back. Let's go between these two. Give me, I want to see Devin Williams in a Dodger uniform, even though we don't know what he looks like in the postseason, just because there's always been something dumb. He either punches a wall and breaks his hand, or there's been injuries or whatever. But I really like the fact that it lines up. You're moving prospects, you're moving pieces to get him, as opposed to spending a bunch of money on Tanner Scott, which both of them I love. But Tanner Scott,
the history of Andrew Friedman has anything to say about it, Clint, he does not spend a lot of money on relievers. That's just kind of been his MO. I mean, other than the whole Kenley Jansen thing, but that's a bona fide potential Hall of Fame.
So right there, this is what I wanted to ask you, and this is what I brought up on my show to Greg Bergman. would you want to see the Dodgers take your friendship with Kenley out of it? Would you want to see the Dodgers bring back Kenley Jansen to be not the closer? Because they don't need a closer. They don't need a de facto bona fide every ninth inning closer guy. But Kenley to be one of those guys that's part of that back end of the rotation mix. Or do you think maybe the Kenley Jansen era in Dodger Blue has passed?
I think the Kenley Jansen era as a closer is probably gone, but I still think that Kenley Jansen as a back end of the bullpen guy, setup guy, is still there. That doesn't mean to say, and I love Kenley, I'm probably going to see him and Gianni in January when I go to Curacao.
That's right.
But the point is, I would love to, I would take Devin Williams as our closer. I really would. Certainly as a 1-year deal with what that guy still has in the tank. Of course, Tanner Scott is very, very desirable too, but he's going to need more than 1 year and a lot more money. And that's just not Andrew's MO. I mean, we have a lot of reclamation projects in our bullpen that have ended up turned themselves into the bullpen dogs. So I'm gonna go with if it's either Tanner Scott or Devin Williams, I'd take a flyer on Williams.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a wrong answer for either of these guys, but to have a trade, to still have some team control, bring in that disgusting airbender into that Dodger bullpen, and knowing that maybe he's going to get the lion's share of save opportunities, but he's not the closer. That's what I love. I love that idea. And I think something, Ken talked to you about it today. There's a little bit of smoke to this fire. There's a little bit of real to the Dodgers being in on another back end of the bullpen piece. So just because
if they get one of those guys, they signed Blake Trinan, they got Blake Snell, they extended Tommy Edman, they got Conforto, and you can get Teoscar. Dodgers won the off season.
Yeah.
By the way, let's get to Bleeding Blue.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so get ready for Mookie Betts at the shortstop position again in 2025. What the hell are we doing?
Listen, they made it official on the first official full day of the winter meetings. Mookie Betts going to shortstop. Tommy Edman will be mostly playing in center field, and I had that kind of take at first as well. I'm like, I don't like it. I don't think, and I still don't think that's where Mookie's future ends up. He's not going to be a shortstop, so why do it now? But the shortstop market with Willy Adames off of it isn't quite robust. And if what Dino Ebel told us a couple weeks ago, the biggest issue for Mookie was throwing. If he has a full offseason instead of 7 to 10 days to figure out the position on the fly, I agree with the team in saying I will bet on Mookie Betts. I bet on the man. You bet on the person. You bet on the player. This is a Hall of Famer. He's a very, very good baseball player, and it's not catching the ball. It's not the range. It's just the footwork and the arm angles. And Dino said he already got better immediately when he went back into right field and kind of kept practicing at shortstop. Am I excited about it? No. Am I worried about it? No, because you still have the depth there. What is your take on Mookie Betts, shortstop era 2.0?
To me, it just says that we don't have a shortstop for the foreseeable future in terms of long-term shortstop. And it also says to me that they only trust Gavin at second. It also says, I love Tommy Edman in center. I think that's the exact right place for where Tommy Edman needs to be defensively, obviously, with his skill set. I love that. To me, it just says that they're still questioning that they don't have a long-term shortstop because Mookie will not be a shortstop for the remainder of his career. Like that's just, your body just doesn't work that way. So is it a short-term fix? Perhaps. Do I trust Mookie? Of course. I do think he can be a Gold Glover at short, but does that mean that so you keep Gavin at second because you don't trust Gavin to be the future at the shortstop position? They're going to have to address the shortstop spot soon.
Yeah. That I fully agree with. They have some options in-house. We know Miguel Rojas will be around for another year.
Yeah, but Miguel Rojas is my age. Like Miguel is no, he's not. No one's that old. But Miguel Rojas is a player coach. He can't play. He can't play shortstop every single day. He just can't. I mean, again, your body. It's a very, very difficult defensive position, and it takes a toll on your body.
Yeah, they have options for kind of rotation. You would like to see like the man being there, especially after this team had Corey Seager for all those years, and then another season of Trey Turner, and then it's just kind of been this weird sort of black hole at shortstop. And to me, it feels a lot like the post Adrian Beltre era, where they had no idea what they were doing at third base until Justin Turner showed up. So this could be a problem at shortstop for quite some time, unless some of the draft picks they've made. Last year, their first round pick, Kellen Lindsey, he's a long way away from being the answer at shortstop, if he ever is. And they have some other guys in the minor leagues that play shortstop, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this position, or this front office, this organization believes in them as big leaguers. And I don't know that now you can, like, in this window, you can try to rush or put some of these guys out, whether it be an Alex Freeland, who's one of the guys that's probably closest to making his big league debut. You can't have a championship window and go with a rookie at shortstop. That's just not what the Dodgers are able to do now in the Shohei Ohtani era.
No, long gone are the days of the Corey Seagers and Trey Turners. Like, we just don't. We have a lot of folks in the pipeline, and I love that this is one of the teams in the bigs that can continue to reload, not even reload and not decimate the farm system. I mean, we have such a great farm. I think probably the Baltimore Orioles would be the only farm system that rivals ours, and a lot of those guys are already up. You can see that. So I don't know. I think, I trust Mookie, but there's got to be some sort of long-term plan at the shortstop position, because that ain't it for the remainder of his contract. I think Mookie's 30 something.
He's on the wrong side of 30, we'll say.
He's on the wrong. I mean, yeah, I wish I was on the wrong side of 30, but yeah, I get it. It'll be interesting to see. But we gotta shore that up.
Hey, going back a little bit before we continue on this, we did get a super chat from Mike Lopez here.
Oh, thanks, Mike.
Appreciate. Actually, he dropped $2 super chats. One, he did the second one because he misspelled. He said Mark Reynolds, and I looked up. I was like, I'm pretty sure Mark Reynolds is very, very retired. Very retired. But Brian Reynolds.
He met Brian.
But Brian Reynolds, being, of course, recently signed an extension with the Pirates, but was somebody the Dodgers were interested in just before that deal. I don't know if that's a move they would consider. The Pirates would consider trading a star.
Absolutely. If you want to unload payroll, I know that they just signed him to an extension. I realize that. But then you still get to keep Skeens. You still get to keep Jared Jones. Maybe you do listen to trading Brian Reynolds. And I'm sure he has, he gets to choose, I'm sure, where he goes. If he'll, I don't know if he has a no trade clause in his contract, but if you're going from the Buccos, and I know he said he wanted to be there for the rest of his career, but if you're going to the Buccos to the Dodgers and you want a chance to win, why not? I mean, that's a thought. If they don't sign, I would imagine Brian Reynolds is right-handed. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Left-handed.
He's left-handed?
Yeah.
All right. So I don't know that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, good talent. You find a way to fit talent in any way you can, but I don't know that that's where the Dodgers are at right now. I think you need more of a focus on short, on middle infield, maybe, rather than center field now. But, if to the question, if they don't bring back Teoscar Hernandez, 1,000%, it should be something that is in the realm of consideration. The Dodgers need to explore all options and avenues, and they kind of already started that with the Michael Conforto signing, which I think by the end of the year, we will like it, I hope. I'm not going out on a limb here. I'm not going to put myself out on the strongest limb to say, like, I think we're going to love Conforto, but it's a good depth move. That's what this team does. But still, all the focus needs to be on Teoscar Hernandez. We know he fits. Yeah. We know the bat plays in there. The clubhouse presence is all the way there.
Well, you and I were both right. Dylan McKay said he's a switch hitter and he's a dog. And speaking of dogs, let's get to last lick.
Let's do it.
All right, everybody, let me introduce you to beautiful Malibu. Malibu is a beautiful girl that she's unbelievably sweet. She is currently residing in Sherman Oaks, California, but unfortunately, her family wants to give her up because the owner is a daughter that's going to college and she can't take her. This is why you don't get a pup until you can be dedicated to that pup for its entire life. She is a love, you guys. She's about 1 year old. She gets along great with other dogs. She's great with kids. She's very sweet. And we're trying to do everything in our power to avoid this little girl going to a shelter, because I can tell you that if she goes to a shelter in Los Angeles City, county, any of it, it's very unlikely she's going to make it out alive. There is no such thing as a no-kill shelter in the LA City and LA County shelter systems. So if you could please share Malibu, I would greatly appreciate it. She needs our help. Please reach out to me, Alanna Rizzo Alanna at Gidry'sGuardian.org, and obviously on the social stuff as well. All right, guys, what's coming up on your show?
Let's say make Malibu your most wanted.
Oh.
Listen. More of that, those kind of jokes coming up tonight on All Dodgers. Now we'll be live at about 6 p.m. on my channel. Do check it out. Doing voicemails, talking more about all of the winter meetings and where we think that the team is trending and liking it, disliking moves, and just having a little bit of fun with the chat, with the comments there on All Dodgers. Before we do leave, though, Alanna, I don't know if you saw this, but we can call ourselves Mr. and Ms. Worldwide, because Dodgers territory getting some love on the Spotify Wrapped. 24 countries tube in and tune in to Dodgers territory. Cool. That's
really cool. That makes me very happy. Thank you, guys. Right now we have 907 folks listening live. We had up to 1,000 earlier, a couple seconds ago. I really appreciate you guys. Clint and I do very much. We can't do this without you. So like, subscribe, tell your friends, do all the things. Clint and I will be back with a brand new episode on Monday, but don't forget to check in to All Dodgers with Clint Pasillas tonight. We will see you guys together on Monday. Go Dodgers.
Okay, bye.